crazy Thanksgiving night.
So I'm a male nurse at a large hospital in San Francisco. I work in the ER, and as is custom, Thanksgiving night was very busy. Now my wife is also a nurse for the same hospital. She works in labor and delivery. Between babies being born left and right and the people coming into the ER, we hadn't had a chance to take our break together, as we try to do every shift. So when she called, I figured it was to say she wanted to meet up for a bite to eat in the cafeteria. When I answered, I heard in the background a male voice screaming profanities, and my wife, who is fluent in Spanish, trying to calm this guy down. She told me their pager wasn't working and they needed security stat. I quickly hung up, called for security, and told my fellow nurses what was going on, and ran for labor and delivery, worried sick about my wife, when I ran almost square smack dab into this visibly angry man. He wasn't huge, but bro definitely worked out and not at a gym. He was covered in prison tattoos and he was obviously a banger. I work out regularly, but I knew this guy could kick my ass. He looked at me, gave me this sick grin, and started heading towards me, spouting off in Spanish. I don't speak fluent Spanish, but what I could understand scared the living shit out of me. I'm backing up as fast as I can. I start buzzing the door to the ER frantically for them to let me in. This guy's literally a foot away from me and the door opens and I'm pulled into safety by a doctor. Gangbanger punches the door a few times, making a dragging sign across his throat while grinning at both of us. Next thing I know, the police rush into the corridor he's in, and it takes 2 security officers and 2 cops to subdue this dude. I finally make it to my wife, who thankfully was shaken up but unhurt. She explained to me what happened. A young girl, only 14, came in, high fever, vomiting, distended belly. The banger claimed he was her brother and they needed to cut her open and get her baby. They did an ultrasound and to their horror they realized she wasn't pregnant. She had bags of drugs in her stomach. It's very common for drug mules to bring over young women from Mexico carrying drugs that way. Homeboy freaked out when they informed him his sister needed emergency surgery, and no, he wasn't getting his drugs. Thankfully, the girl survived, but the sad thing is she will most likely be deported once she recovers. So, gangbanger who wants to kill me? Let's never meet again.
Why I always keep my door closed and locked.
Growing up, I always had the front or back door open with a latched screen or glass door to let in lighter air. I was used to that, and it never occurred to me when I got my own place to do anything else. Several years ago, when I moved into my first rental, I was just cleaning up and unpacking things, and as it was summer, I had the door open with the glass door latched. Eventually, I heard the neighbor's dog start barking, and then a knock at my door. Standing outside was a guy who looked fairly normal, although his behavior was slightly anxious. That didn't seem too weird though, because he said he was selling magazine subscriptions to make extra money, etc. At the time, I'd had more than one person come to the door saying that, although before it had usually been high school students. This guy was probably 30 or so, which made it a bit awkward. I told him I was sorry, but I didn't have any money. I closed and latched the door again, and he walked off. I actually wasn't at all afraid or nervous. I actually thought he was nervous or embarrassed to be so much older than the people who usually get jobs like that. So I went about my day, perfectly normal. Got the kitchen unpacked and put away, etc. I decided I didn't want to mess it all up by cooking yet, so I grabbed my keys and went down the stairs. An honest to God chill went up my back, raising the hair on my arms when I saw the door. There were greasy prints all over it. Not just handprints, but prints from a face, squished all around as the guy tried to see different angles into my house. I immediately closed the door back and locked it, then called my uncle and his son to come hang out with me for a while. Luckily, I never saw him again, but I never unlocked the glass door if someone knocked. I just talked to them through it. So yeah, creepy magazine salesman. Let's not meet.
Why I hate city buses.
This encounter happened literally yesterday, and it kind of shook me, so I wanted to share it. To preface, I'm a 17-year-old girl with a smaller build and only 5'6", so I'm a bit defenseless. So I've been living in the city and taking the city buses everywhere for a few months now, and I haven't had any bad experiences. Until yesterday. Yesterday was Black Friday, so a friend of mine was going to meet me at a mall north of town to go shopping. To get to the mall, I had to take a bus from my neighborhood, get off at a bus exchange, and take a different bus to get to my destination. On this first bus, I'm just sitting in the back level by myself. Diagonally to my front left is a man with a leather jacket. He's maybe 35 to 40, with orange-colored hair. After the woman sitting beside him gets off, he turns to me and asks me if I'm from Campbell River. To this I say no, and he tells me I look like a girl he knows from there, and he tells me I'm very beautiful. So I just say thanks and try to put my earbuds back in, but he keeps making conversation with me. He asks me personal questions about my life and background, like where I'm from, why I'm here, and what's my name and age. I lied about a lot of it because I was uncomfortable and he was a creepy stranger. But since I'm a friendly person by nature, I was being a little nice. After telling me about himself, he says him and I should hang out sometime. I was taken aback by this, and he moves to the row of seats behind me and leans forward over the seat beside me. Now in my personal space, he keeps blabbing on about his life, and I'm not saying a word at this point. I'm frantically texting my friends about how creeped out I am, while leaning my head over so he wouldn't see my phone screen. Finally, we get to the bus exchange, and to my luck, he gets off too. Although I was supposed to go to the next bus, I saw it wasn't there yet and went down the stairs to a mall at the bus exchange. I notice he's following me. I run into the mall entrance and run through it to the front entrance. I can hear him yelling for me to wait for him, and I book it around the entire building and run all the way back up to the bus stop to see that the bus I was supposed to take was at its stop, like some shining light of God. I waited on the bus and it leaves, thankfully without him. My day carries on, but I was still shaken by the encounter because I'm frail and it was really up front. So, creepy middle-aged man, let's not meet again.